Welcome to the Quotive Corner. Whether you're starting your day, looking for something to think about, winding it down with a quiet reflection, or just taking a few minutes in the middle of everything life throws at you, I'm glad you're here. Have you ever caught yourself assuming the worst about someone and then later realizing you were completely wrong? Well, there's a principle often attributed to Robert J. Hanlon that has a way of quietly changing how you see people. It's known as Hanlon's razor, and it goes like this. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Now, I'll admit, not the most flattering wording, it sounds a little blunt, maybe even a little insulting at first, but the intent behind it isn't to call people stupid. It's actually the opposite. It's a reminder that most of the time, people aren't acting out of cruelty or bad intentions. They're just being human. And being human, as we all know, comes with a pretty consistent track record of misunderstanding things, overlooking details, and occasionally making decisions that, in hindsight, weren't our finest moments. What's interesting is that this idea didn't just appear out of nowhere. Variations of this kind of thinking have existed long before Hanlon. Even thinkers like Johann Wolfgang von Goethe expressed similar sentiments in different ways. But Hanlon's version stuck, probably because it's simple, direct, and a little uncomfortable, which usually means there's some truth to it. Because if we're being honest, our default setting isn't to assume harmlessness, it's to assume intent. Someone cuts you off in traffic and suddenly they're reckless, inconsiderate, maybe even personally out to ruin your day. A coworker sends a short email, and now there's a tone to it, a meaning behind it. A whole story you didn't ask for, but your brain was happy to write anyway. And the thing is, we don't even realize we're doing it. It happens fast, almost automatic. There's a reason for that. Our brains are wired to look for threats, to assign meaning, to fill in gaps. It's efficient, but it's not always accurate. Because in reality, most people aren't carefully crafting ways to frustrate you. They're distracted, they're busy, they're dealing with things you don't see. Or sometimes, they just didn't think it through. And if we're being fair, we've all been on the other side of that. We've all sent a message that came across wrong, missed something we shouldn't have missed, made a decision that looking back didn't make a lot of sense, not because we were trying to cause a problem, but because we were tired, rushed, or just human. Hanlon's razor doesn't excuse behavior. It doesn't say that actions don't matter. What it does is shift your first reaction. It gives you a moment to pause before assigning intent. And that pause is more powerful than it sounds. Because once you assume malice, everything changes. Your tone changes. Your response changes. The situation escalates, sometimes unnecessarily. But if you consider a simpler explanation first, something opens up. You create space. You stay in control. Instead of reacting, you start responding. And there's a quiet confidence in that. Not the loud kind, not the kind that needs to prove a point, just a steady understanding that not everything is personal. Now, of course, this isn't about being naive. There are situations where intent matters. There are patterns of behavior that can't be ignored. If something happens once, maybe it's a mistake. If it keeps happening, that's information. Hanlon's razor isn't about ignoring reality. It's about interpreting it more accurately, at least at the start. It's about giving people the benefit of the doubt. Not because they always deserve it, but because it protects you from carrying unnecessary frustration. And that's really what this comes down to. This isn't just about understanding other people, it's about protecting your own peace of mind. Because the moment you stop assuming the worst, you start seeing things more clearly. Situations feel lighter, reactions feel more measured, and a lot of the tension you used to carry just doesn't show up the same way. It's a small shift in thinking, but like most things that matter, the small shifts tend to make the biggest difference over time. So the next time something happens, something frustrating, confusing, or just slightly off, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this really intentional? Or is it something simpler? Because more often than not, it's simpler. Thank you for spending a few minutes here with me. If this gave you something to think about, I'd invite you to come back for the next one, or share this with someone who might need it today. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Learning to pause, to question your first assumption, and to choose clarity over reaction. Because wisdom isn't in the quote, it's in the reflection. I'll see you in the next episode.